Happy Friday, and welcome back to the Jesse Rucinski Show. Hope you guys have some plans for this weekend coming up and you get to enjoy it. Before we get to everything, I want to say thank you for checking me out. Thank you for, following on the platforms. Thank you for sharing. I see it all. I appreciate it. And before we get into the meat of everything, let's just say that finding out that Jen Psaki is leaving the White House for an on-air role at MSNBC, I mean, who didn't see that one coming, actually? Like, I mean, really, like, that's a real smile on my face if you're watching it. Who didn't see that coming? Like, she's perfect for it. When you think of Jen Psaki, I mean, MSNBC and the crazy stuff that comes out of their mouth, she fits right in. So, best of luck to you in your future endeavors with those crazy people over there, because you should fit right in. So, see you later. Bye. Whenever that time is. Adios, bye, con Dios, deuces. Bye bye. Toodaloo. Get the out of here, and I'll never see her again, which is glorious. Now, into the meat of everything. After I thought I said nice words about Jen Psaki there, and I know I talk about conspiracy theories a lot. Ones that keep getting proven right. But I mean, there's been so many throughout the last 5-6 years, or so. It's amazing how many have actually come out in that amount of time. Just about one person. Like, that is, crazy. And the stuff that's been, reported on, certain Democrats that we said was true, and it just got called Russian disinformation for the longest time. I'm sure people that listen to this got in trouble with Facebook for sharing things about, what I'm going to talk about today because it was Russian disinformation. And it's not true. So you got thrown off of Facebook. Like, I watch people try to share things, and Facebook literally won't want them push the button to post it, which, it's amazing. And here we are now. I slightly mentioned it, but the other day, but like, we're finally 2 more have come to fruition and proved everything we said. So pat yourself on the back. We deserve it. We're right again. It's not all crazy. And those 2 things being even like, now we got crazy liberal news sources confirming the Hunter Biden laptop being a real thing and all the money coming in from, corrupt Ukrainian energy companies and China and Russian oligarchs. And all of it is true. And, the Russia thing being a hoax brought on, paid for by Hillary and the DNC that they kept denying. They've now had to pay fines, and they're not even trying to fight anything, which, you're welcome, America. They're not, if Hillary and those crooked people aren't even trying to, fight it or anything, well, they pay the fine. I mean, granted, they just chew, and not so much the fine really hurt them because it didn't, but it rolls it all back to what, President Trump was saying for all that time. And again, I was doing, extensive research, there's stacks of, notebooks and stuff all over the place on, all the stuff that I looked into, just, connecting dots, books, articles, like, I got stuff all over the place on it. And it was true. Wrapped it all around. And I think it's going to keep coming. Going to keep going. And it is amazing how, like, Joe, Nancy, John Kerry. My brain just turned off. And Mitt Romney, I do believe it was, all have children that work for energy companies and get money from Ukraine, which is, really, truly amazing. At least I think it was Mitt Romney off the top of my head. But, it's been a long time coming. There's been a lot of stuff we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for anyone to actually do their job, whether it's in the Justice Department, across many agencies. And we've been waiting for a very long time for it to finally be said. And it's to the point where it's real, where, again, mainstream media people are picking up on it, which when the Washington Post is coming out saying things, or CNN, then you're officially, it's very much real, because they can't hide it anymore if they're actually saying anything about it. But here we are. And I think it's going to keep getting bigger. They're going to keep finding more stuff out. We have seen indictments and stuff from the Durham thing, and we're doing, they're doing this. Like, I think it's going to, keep going. And I think if they just did their job, all this would be behind us and we'd be moving forward and we wouldn't have to be, having all this energy taken away from the important things that we have to do in the country so people could talk about stuff like this and have you should have listened. Everyone covered it up, but we'll get into all of it. First, when I talk about Hunter's laptop from hell, I'm pretty sure it's been, is the official name. I'll go with the laptop from hell. As it was. I mean, there's all kinds of gnarly stuff on that, but that was turned over to the FBI in December of 2019. Like, they had all that time, yet all of them were coming out during the election saying it was Russian disinformation, even though they had it for almost a year come election time. Don't know what the hell was going on there. We've all seen the pictures of him with, smoking crack in the videos and him falling asleep with a crack pipe in his mouth. Like, we've seen all of that. At least most of us have seen any of that don't, turn on liberal mainstream media, any of the mainstream media. Like, you'll see it on conservative ones, but, there are the very few out there that aren't as horrific, that do actually call it pretty even on both sides. And again, you could look up all the stuff, like, there's so much on the internet, and you can't hide all of it. And they haven't. Well, we've seen all that. We've seen all the videos of, when he was a sex addict and all, because he video recorded everything. All the emails were there. Like, there's so much on it, and there's so much on it that we were saying was on it back in 2020 that we all got told we were crazy and it was just disinformation by, the media. Then we got social media, social mainstream, the left politicians. Like, all I'm saying was crazy disinformation. But now it has been confirmed that he was getting money from China, Russia, and, Ukrainian energy companies. Like everyone was saying, whether it's, again, Chinese banks, an energy, Ukrainian, Burisma, the energy company, the former mayor of Moscow's wife, like, Russian oligarchs getting millions. And also, big guy was mentioned in those emails. Nothing directly by name, so at least he was smart enough to do that back then, because he can't, form a sentence now. But the sitting president's brother James was getting some, is mentioned in it, and like, we can't confirm that he knew anything, but I mean, he had to. Like, his son was in it, his brother was getting some from it. Like, it was all off of his name and his power, just like when Joe did the legit bragged about a quid pro quo. Like, either get rid of this guy investigating this, or I'm flying away without giving you your money. Like, that actually happened when he was vice president in Ukraine one time. We all know, though, he's corrupt and compromised and everything. He has been. I mean, he says what he has to say to get his way, or what they tell him to. And he always has been. There's never been like anything real special about him. But here we are. I say, it's going to get down to him. I don't know why we don't have an investigation going on, like, in this amount of time on it yet, which is actually really terrifying with all the information that's been confirmed on it, that they're not investigating anything yet. But again, look who has majority. So, it's hard to get anything through because no one's going to turn on him, especially in midterms, because, George Soros and the machine can find anyone to get someone in there that'll just go along with them. Chinese energy conglomerate CEFC, China Energy, paid $4.84 million to entities controlled by Hunter and his uncle James. Let's go with Jim. It's easier to say, Jim Biden. All emails now, confirmed through cryptographic signatures from Google and other companies. And yes, there are some that, haven't been confirmed, and they're, still digging through a lot of which, I still don't understand how they're still digging through, and they had it for over 2 years now. But, if they were going after my life, they'd have been through that thing in about 12 seconds flat. Any of us would have been, okay, done. But things have been confirmed, which is, a really good big, step. Now we'll go through some, headlines just from the Washington Post. October 14th, 2020. 3 weeks before Election Day, Trump allies go after Hunter and Joe Biden. They then continue to attack any of it. Like, anything that anyone said about it, when it finally came around, they finally mentioned it, they then continued to go after, again, President Trump, anyone, any conservative, anyone, really. We saw what Facebook and Twitter did. Again, you couldn't even hit post with some stuff because I mean, they were on top of everyone like like a fly on what. Even though the FBI really did have it, so it was an actual thing, they still went after and said it was misinformation, disinformation, Russian information. Like they threw everything at it, even though it was actually there. And people did, like some people back then did confirm it. I mean, when you got the mainstream media, social media, everything like in your pocket, it's really easy to make it go away and no one to see it. At least no one that should see it, that should know it before, they vote, so they can have an informed vote and actually know any of the stuff that's going on instead of just thinking it's, crazy Trump and all of us making more crazy stuff up. October 15th, Trump's fake new Biden scandal has a deeper purpose. Bannon revealed it. Congratulations. October 16th, the truth behind the Hunter Biden non-scandal. Like they were going on and on, but again, that was Washington Post. Again, since, given Joe Biden the maximum amount of Pinocchios they can give, 4, I believe. The max they give out for being full of it. At least, even they've turned, even the Daily Show's saying things. But they weren't the only ones. CNN was doing it, MSNBC, CNBC, politicians on the left, to include Joe Biden. Everyone was all in it. Again, social media. Look what Zuckerberg did with Facebook and how you didn't see anything about it. But there was all kinds of false stuff about Trump flying around for forever, and that was okay to skew it to make him look like the Antichrist, even though it wasn't real. It was confirmed not real. Like, and the money that Zuckerberg gave, I think it was like 400 million, to stuff. Like he gave a lot of money out, and then we got Jack Dorsey at Twitter, and he did pretty much like the same exact thing. Like they were blocking everything and kicking people off permanently for sharing any of it, even though it's now confirmed to be true. So, what comes from that, I don't know, but they were just as guilty as Facebook. All the main guys, they were out there blocking every single thing they could. And again, it was their platform. They did whatever they wanted, regardless, even though they didn't block people on the other side for sharing all kinds of, Russia, this, that, and the other thing, which is really the big problem with it all that I have. I mean, if you're going to block one, you should block from the other side. Why? So everyone is fairly, but you have to block it when it, because it was shown to be true, and they still went after it, even though the Russia thing was blown out of the water, washed away and done and confirmed it was bogus by that time. People were still allowed to share it. The drink bleach thing, which even that day, if you looked at, you searched it online, MSNBC, CNN, like all NBC, like all of them had their fact check. No, he didn't actually directly say do that, but they still ran on that, and that was all over social media. Like it was just very nice people thing. Like they just continuously, and then you went and shared this, and Washington, and then New York Post got thrown off of social media stuff for sharing it, even though they had it. Like it's just, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm going after just those two. I mean, there's a lot of people that had a lot of stuff, their fingers all intertwined in this garbage. And I want to see what's going to come from it all, though. Because I think they should do a full investigation into all of it. I think they should do a full investigation into most things before you think I'm just going crazy Trump. Like there are some serious bad things going on in all of this, and people keep letting them get away, and that's why it keeps getting worse, and they keep doing more. I have to say that's just your personal opinion. I mean, that's really the way it is. If you think that's just my personal opinion, I'm sorry, but you've missed the buck, because it's not that way. And it's funny though, now that the election's over, obviously, even though stuff's coming out about that left, right, and indifferently, about all kinds of stuff that happens. So we're going to keep seeing how the cards fall with all of that. But now that the election's over and all that, suddenly all of them are all, but it's true. They're trying to skew it in a way where it's not, Joe has nothing to do with it. But I mean, the big guy was mentioned. Bob Alinsky came out and did the interview last year and had all the evidence he needed to prove that the big guy was involved and that he had these meetings. And no one does anything about it. But here they are now, at least saying that, yes, the laptop is real. They're just trying to, distance Joe from all of it. Like he had no idea what was going on, even though, again, his son and his brother were involved. And he did a quid pro quo and say, I'm not giving you money until you get rid of the guy investigating Burisma. And it wasn't going so good. And then Hunter would look bad. Like there's all kinds of stuff there. But I mean, again, I'm not surprised it's coming out now. None of us should be surprised that it's coming out now, but they're actually at least saying it out loud. I just want people that aren't involved in any way in any of it to do the investigation and to get to the bottom of it. like unbiased people, like, because I mean, look at the January 6th thing. They kicked only Republicans on there, people that hated Trump. Like if we can get an actual people from the Democratic side hated him. So if we can get anything fair is really the big one. But all those people that refuted it from like the FBI, the intelligence community, all of them are now saying, like confirming it. And again, at least that's a step. I never thought we'd get, that far. And, again, it shouldn't have been suppressed all that time ago because it actually was very much confirmed. Like it was real. The FBI had it for forever. I don't understand why it took that long. How we're just getting to it like over 2 years later. It's really, really terrifying. But there's another thing that's really terrifying. That's even more terrifying, actually. And that's Hillary, her campaign and the DNC. And there's, the other confirmed one. Like we all said it for forever. And Trump was chastised. We were all run up the wall, for the Russia thing, saying it was a hoax. It wasn't real, even though, again, there's a paper trail. There's a very large paper trail of all I have to do is follow it. There's so many reports, books, like from intelligence people, like everything out there showing how everything fell. Every time for the Wilmington VA to try to call. But all the other people that weren't Hillary and the DNC are named, they're in there, but they're named in his lawsuit that he filed last week. And I think, again, it's just the beginning of this whole thing, but we've been saying it for forever. That it was all a crock. And now here's this pretty much confirming it, that all kinds of shady things happened. And, there's still people that don't believe it, but, it's still early. I'm just saying, we've been saying it for years. And again, lawsuit. Federal Elections Commission, the FEC, would find Hillary and her campaign and the DNC for paying for the dossier, and starting to spread the whole entire Russia thing. And then we wasted millions of dollars looking into the thing, but to make sure there's no Russian collusion when they knew there was no Russian collusion, which makes it even worse. They should have to pay back the millions of dollars that were wasted for them to investigate and do all that when all these people, knew that it was a crock and a waste, but they still went with it anyway to try to push their narrative that it was, even though they found nothing. Like, I'm sorry, that many millions of dollars, that many hearings, they found nothing. Anyone that wants to argue that, please come on, call me, text me, Snapchat me, FaceTime me so we can do it face to face. That sounds even Zoom. I'll yell at you on Zoom, but it's another conspiracy theory. The major one that we've been talking about, like literally the whole entire time, was Russia. And now here they are paying fines, and like they did indeed pay for, which he said they did. He's been saying it for forever that the DNC was in on it and all that, and they were. The Clinton campaign was fined $8,000, and the DNC was fined $105,000 for mislabeling payments that went to Fusion GPS and went to commissioning, the now famous Steele dossier. DNC there, and again, DNC. Hillary's campaign paid for it, confirmed. There it is from the government themselves. An $8,000 fine and $105,000 fine for the DNC. I mean, DNC spent over $400 million just in 2020, race for president. I believe it was right around 465 or something. Well, 105,000 really isn't anything, but like, hey, wait, you did this. So, I mean, is again that the campaign, the DNC, paid more than $1 million to prominent Democrat law firm Perkins Cole, which engaged with Fusion GPS and gave the money to Steele. Yada yada yada. We all know that worked with the Trump, and the dossier, that was never confirmed, but they still got a FISA warrant. But a video of Trump allegedly with prostitutes in a Russian hotel that Obama once stayed at, peeing all over the bed, and all kinds of weird stuff that was thrown there, and then nothing was confirmed. Be it FISA warrants were issued, which is just amazing. But and the FEC, which is, again, in case you want to listen, the Federal Election Commission, there you go, said the Clinton and the DNC claimed the money went towards legal advice and services rather than opposition research. So even if they did, it was just simple mislabeling, which we all know it wasn't. There's corruption all across the government. So but they broke election laws by not being sufficiently specific about the purpose of the payments, not including detailed information about Fusion GPS in the disclosure forms. See, no, they did break election law to do all this spying and to get the dossier, to get the FISA warrant, which, still getting there. But And neither of them admitted wrongdoing, but neither will contest the commission's findings. Which you're saying, if you're not fighting it at all, like, yeah, what? I'll take the slap on the wrist and keep going. What's $113,000 combined? I'm pretty sure they could sneeze that out of their nose. Literally. Look, I found my fine, but I think it should have been more severe, as Christopher Steele's dossier led to the FISA warrant, which was spying on Carter Page, even though, like, they've even said in all their hearings and everything, said that they couldn't confirm pretty much anything that was in the dossier to do anything, but somehow they got a judge to still sign off on a FISA warrant, which is supposed to be the hardest warrant to get in the land, to spy on Trump's campaign. And Carter Page had anything being confirmed, which again shows you how deep the deep state really is and all the players that are involved. Again, I still find it amazing that Obama, Hillary, Jen Psaki, and Kamala's husband all came down with COVID within a couple of days of each other. That really shouldn't be anywhere near each other. Oh, wait, they probably all are, just like we keep saying, because that's what they do. They are all together. But really, all together, this is just, the beginning. I mean, if they at least find them that admitted that something was going on there, and we know John Durham is still doing his probe into everything, and they keep finding more stuff. Paper trails have all been laid out, and they're not fighting it, which is like, yeah, we know we did it, but here's your money. Spy them and do all of that, and they're the ones that paid for all of this, which started the whole thing. Why we all said it was the biggest crock ever, and that Hillary and the DNC paid for it, no matter how much everyone said no, they didn't. Here we are. Yes, they did. So we can mark two more officially now off the list of conspiracy theories. Alleged conspiracy theories there. That they tried to say was all this big thing and the bee's knees, and it really happened. And Donald Trump's just this big, bad, crazy person, and he was working with Russia, and he was an agent of Russia, and the only person that had anything to do with Russia was, Hillary and the DNC, because they were working with him, which is, again, still monolithically impressive when you think about it. This is again, only because we've all been saying it for forever, and yet here we still are all this time later. It's hard to believe that we're, this many years later after he said it, and we all said it, and we're still dealing with it. But, at least we got this far, which is really, the big one of it all. Like, we're finally at least here with a lawsuit, with the election commission finally, saying something that, they did do things wrong and they broke election law, which we've all been saying that they paid for the whole thing themselves, with unverifiable garbage information that wasn't real, but they still got a FISA warrant. Like, I think this is just the tip of the, iceberg for all of it. Like, I think we're just getting started. Pretty sure we all think it's just getting started. It's going to keep getting a lot worse for all the people involved in carrying all this out and everyone that knew. And, there's so many people that are at play with it. But look how many of us believed what he said and actually looked into it ourselves, and we were all right. All of us that weren't new into the, politic game, like a lot of Joe Biden's voters and all of them that never paid attention to any of it their entire life. So they didn't know any different. They just believe whatever the mainstream media told them, because, they can't lie. They're some of the biggest liars known, they're like God, like, to anyone, like, they're terrible. And, we just let them get away with it, which is, what gets us into these predicaments anyways. We just let them get away with whatever they want. But we were all right between the Russia thing, between Hunter's laptop, which the FBI did have since 2019. We all knew it. And we were all very open about it and talking about it. Like, we all said it's real. And how many of us got our heads blown off? Like, I lost lifelong, like, over 2-decade friendships because someone that just got into the political thing thought that they knew better, because this is what the news and all these people told me before they went into the chamber, and all my edited stuff that I see. It's like, I actually sat around and watched all those hearings when they were on, when they actually televised them. Like, I heard what they said before they went in, but then I heard what they said with their right hand in the air when they're getting, and they're putting themselves, they're taking their oath, tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Like, when they took that, I was watching. so they didn't perjure themselves. Like they said it all out there, but it was real, just like Hunter's laptop, just like all of it. It was all very, very, very real. And people should have listened instead of just throwing hissy fits and screaming at us and losing lifelong friendships because everyone thought they knew better. And even when you gave them like real, here you go, like no kidding, it happened. Here's the proof, and they're just telling you that it's all crazy conservative Republican propaganda and conspiracy and all that. Like, dude, this is like an actual document from like the committee and the interviews. Like, here's the transcript, and here's everything when they were under oath. And I still get my head taken off, and that's a problem. But guess what? They're real. The laptop is real. Hillary and them paying for the Steele dossier was real. All these things that we said were real was real. Again, shows how bad the deep state really is. I mean, there's a reason we call it the deep state. He called it a swamp. Whatever you want to call it, it's one of the most corrupt places on God's green earth because, we've had some people that have been there for decade upon decade. Like, why would they want to lose power in that amount of time? Like, that's how you get, being president for more than 2 terms is too much power. When they're only, president, and it's, the people in the Senate and the House that are making all these things, how come they're allowed to be there as long as they want? Like, that has never made sense to me ever, no matter, how old I've been. Like, so it's too much power for let them be president for more than 2 terms, but they could be a senator or a congressman actually making all this legislation and stuff for 2, 3, 4, 5, decades at a time. And that's completely okay when they're the ones really making everything. Like, that's okay. Like, I always had a problem with that. It's never made sense. A lot of people agree with me on that. There's still the crazy people that don't, and still tell me I'm crazy for even thinking that, let alone all these things being proven that we were right, and they still think it's all propaganda and conspiracy theory and all of that, which I just don't understand. Like, information is punching you directly in the face. Like, it's not my job. You don't want to like take that information, but it's right there. Like, you can't deny it anymore. You can't be screaming at me anymore. You can't be doing any of that. It's very real, and it really, really happened, and it's all physically been proven. I do hope now, though, with that coming out and more stuff's going to keep coming out about the Russia thing, who was all behind it, all that, the lawsuit from it, the Durham probe, the laptop, they better start doing something about that. And hopefully the media will cover it properly, or they'll actually just open their eyes and ears and actually think that we're telling them something that isn't just propaganda, which is all they hear. And they'll be like, well, damn, guess you weren't lying. And then we can start actually having real conversations with people on different sides in the country again, without turning into a screaming match, because I normally don't get to have any of those, because everyone on the left, like, I say like 3 or 4 words and they just start just going off, kind of like the chicken exorcist, just shooting all that green stuff all over the place. Like, they just start going off. But hopefully when all this starts coming out, it'll actually make the difference in it, and people start coming around. Because once we can actually start communicating like human beings, because we don't all think alike, obviously, but we used to be able to at least converse about these things. Like, hopefully when all that proof comes out and all that all the crazies that have to take that exhale, accept it, and move on, and start acting like people again. But sadly, I mean, this stuff's punching them in the face. People still don't. But again, Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, and them are all talking about it and confirming it. Granted, they're trying to distance Joe from it the whole time with it, but they're admitting it. That should tell you exactly where the situation is right now. So people should start opening their eyes. And again, no matter how much they try to distance Joe, how could your brother be using your name and your power? How can your son, to make all these money from all these people, how could you do a quid pro quo to get rid of a prosecutor looking into the energy company, and then claim you didn't know about any of this stuff? Like, you can't do that. And again, once they're going after Democrats after how much they said it wasn't real, Houston, we officially have a problem and hit something. So we'll see where it goes. But again, thank you for checking me out. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, follow along on the Facebook page, if you can. I post stuff there: YouTube, Rumble, Cloud Hub, Right Only, Truth, Getter, Rumble, MeWe. Like, I'm all over the place. The audio, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, like I'm all over the place, Overcast. So make sure you follow along on as many as you can. And don't forget to please, like literally the YouTube videos, Rumble, just hit subscribe. Just go there, find the show, hit subscribe, hit the video every time, hit like, put a couple words under it, comment on, just to help it out and to help that grow and to put it farther up there. And don't forget to share, all the audio and video that you do, to your social media to get it out there for more people and share out the stuff from the page, so it automatically they see what you're sharing and write something about that really helps, to get it growing. And I really, really do need your help and appreciate every little bit you can do with that. So I'm going to go though. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to see some midget wrestling tonight because Hannah's mother-in-law, I guess, technically wanted brother's wife's mom. Yeah, she loves midget wrestling. She wanted to go see it. So we got tickets so we could go do that. So that's where I'll be tonight. And then watching a lot of wrestling, but enjoy your weekend. Be really, really good to each other. Again, follow along, share this out is the big one. It helps out immensely. And I'll be back on Tuesday unless something really catastrophic happens. So enjoy your weekend. Be good to each other. Share it out and peace.